Former AFC MP Devin Sears secures bail on drug trafficking charge. Former Alliance for Change AFC Member of Parliament, MP Devin Sears has been granted bail of $400,000 in the High Court after being remanded on a drug trafficking charge on October 23. Justice Navindra Singh granted the bail following an application from Sears' legal team. Sears had been remanded to prison after pleading not guilty to trafficking over 680 pounds of marijuana. The case was initially heard before Magistrate Rochelle Liverpool at the Linden Magistrates Court. Sears was charged alongside Albert Sandy, who pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. The incident occurred around 8:41 p.m. on October 20th, when a police team intercepted a bus at the Old Bamia Police Checkpoint in Linden, Region 10. The vehicle belonged to the Region 10 Tourism Committee Incorporated, where Sears served as vice chairman. He has since resigned from that position. During the interception, Sears reportedly exhibited suspicious behavior, leading officers to inquire about the contents of the vehicle. He allegedly claimed he was transporting tourism plants. Following this, an officer instructed Sears to pull over for a search. Police discovered 22 plastic bags and 4 canvas bags containing marijuana. Both men were arrested and cautioned. While Sears remained silent, Sandy admitted ownership of the narcotics and stated that he had paid Sears to transport him to Parika. The matter is set to be revisited at the Linden Magistrates Court on November 11th. Bodies of 2 security guards recovered after boat capsizes in Puruni River. Police have recovered the bodies of 2 security guards who tragically drowned after their boat capsized in the Puruni River, Middle Mazaruni, on Wednesday afternoon. The victims have been identified as Patrice Grimmond and Kevis Robin, both employees of a private security firm. According to police reports, the aluminum vessel was traveling from a backdam area to Puruni Landing when it overturned around 4 p.m. 4 individuals were on board. 2, including the captain, managed to swim to safety. Grimmond's body was recovered on the same day as the incident, while Robin's body was found the following day. Authorities noted that no marks of violence were observed on either body, which have been taken to the Bartica Hospital mortuary for post-mortem examinations. In addition, police retrieved 2 firearms, a shotgun and an AR rifle, along with ammunition belonging to the security company. These weapons and the ammunition have been lodged as part of the ongoing investigation. Former police officer remanded on drug trafficking charge. A former police officer, Conrad Thomas, 33, now working as a truck driver, was remanded to prison on Wednesday after being charged with possession of cannabis for the purpose of trafficking. He appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Principal Magistrate Faith McGusty. The charge states that on November 4, 2025, Thomas, of 1 Mile Linden, was arrested at Lombard Street, Georgetown, with 4,290 grams of cannabis intended for trafficking. He pleaded not guilty to the charge. Thomas was represented by attorney-at-law Jevon Cox, who informed the court that his client previously served in the Guyana police force before transitioning to transportation work. On the day in question, Cox explained that Thomas was hired by a woman to operate a canter truck to assist her in relocating items. During the job, police ranks conducted a search of the vehicle and discovered the cannabis in the truck's tray, wrapped in a plastic bag. Cox argued that Thomas had no knowledge of the illegal substance, asserting that the woman who hired him exited the vehicle shortly before the police arrived. Thomas denied handling, transporting, or having any knowledge of the narcotics. The prosecution opposed bail, citing the seriousness of the offense and the prevalence of drug trafficking. The prosecutor argued that Thomas was alone in the truck at the time of discovery and therefore in control of its contents. They also mentioned video evidence allegedly showing Thomas handling the bag suspected of containing cannabis and removing it from the truck upon exiting. Additionally, the prosecution noted that another individual was arrested in connection with the matter, who reportedly claimed ownership of the cannabis. However, they maintained that possession is linked to custody and control, which they asserted Thomas had during the search. Cox requested access to the video footage referenced by the prosecution for the defense's review. After considering the submissions, Magistrate McGusty denied bail, remanding Thomas to prison. The matter has been adjourned to November 12th for report and fixture. Police impound vehicles following Mohamed's Lamborghini incident. Qaeda News reports, in a developing story, the Guyana police force has begun trailing the vehicles owned by Azruddin Mohamed, leader of the We Invest in Nationhood, WIN party, following a controversial incident involving a Lamborghini at Parliament. This action comes after Vice President Barrett Jagdeo criticized Commissioner of Police Clifton Hicken for allowing Mohamed to arrive in an uninsured vehicle. On Friday, police ranks reportedly followed Mohamed's wife after she dropped their children off at school in one of the family's vehicles. She was stopped and instructed to drive to a police station, where she was held for approximately 2 hours. After searching the vehicle, she was charged with driving an uninsured motor vehicle, having an obscure number plate, and other traffic offenses. Her court date is set for Wednesday. Additionally, the police detained a driver sent to pick her up from the station and charged him with tint and obscure number plate violations as well. Reports indicate that the police are actively searching for other vehicles owned by the Mohameds. Sources suggest that the insurance company has severed ties with the family due to OFAC sanctions. Mohamed alleges that high-ranking government officials have instructed companies, through intermediaries, to cease doing business with them because of these sanctions. Police investigate fatal incident involving gold miner at Arawak Back Dam. The Guyana police force is currently investigating a tragic incident that resulted in the death of a gold miner at Arawak Back Dam, Cuyuni River, on Thursday morning. The deceased has been identified as Methuselah Charles, 50, from Friendship Canal, Lower Pomeroon River. Preliminary investigations reveal that Charles and a coworker were cutting wood for construction when a tree limb fell and struck him. His coworker, who was working a short distance away, later discovered Charles lying motionless. Charles was quickly transported to the Bartica Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival by the attending doctor. His body has been placed in the hospital mortuary pending a post-mortem examination. The police have confirmed that investigations into the circumstances surrounding the incident are ongoing. GCAA launches investigation into aircraft incident at Lumidpa Secondary School. The Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA, has initiated an investigation following an incident involving an Air Services Limited Cessna 208 Grand Caravan, registered as 8RTHR, which mistakenly landed at the site of the new Lumidpa Secondary School in Region 9 on Thursday morning. Reports indicate that the aircraft was en route to Karadarna in the South Rupununi when the pilot landed on the school compound, a non-designated area located close to the Lumidpa airstrip. During takeoff, the plane reportedly struck and partially damaged the fence surrounding the newly constructed school. Fortunately, authorities have confirmed that no injuries were reported. A local resident, Dan Rickson, informed reporters that the pilot appeared to be a Spanish-speaking national and may not have been familiar with the area. The airstrip is just a short distance away from where the plane landed. It seems he didn't realize it wasn't the correct location, Rickson explained. In a statement released on Friday, the GCAA confirmed that the aircraft has been grounded and the pilot suspended pending the investigation's outcome. Air Services Limited has also been formally notified of the inquiry. The GCAA is dedicated to ensuring a thorough examination of the circumstances surrounding this incident to uphold the highest standards of aviation safety, the authority stated. The investigation will aim to determine how the mislanding occurred and whether any procedural or navigational errors contributed to the incident. Police operation at Kurupukari leads to discovery of suspected cannabis. On Thursday, November 6, 2025, ranks of the Guyana police force conducted a routine exercise at the Kurupukari police checkpoint, resulting in the discovery of a quantity of leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis. The search took place on a motor lorry en route to Lethem, where the suspected narcotic was found in the possession of a 23-year-old porter from Baturverwagding, East Coast Demerara. The suspect was arrested, and the narcotic was weighed in his presence, totaling 16.4 grams. The substance has since been lodged as evidence. The suspect remains in custody as investigations continue, and charges are pending. Acting President urges leaders to support traffic law enforcement. Acting President and Prime Minister Brigadier Reddit Mark Phillips has called on public officials and influential figures to lead by example and refrain from interfering in the work of traffic ranks. He emphasized that such meddling undermines efforts to improve road safety in the country. Speaking at the opening of Road Safety Month 2025, Phillips highlighted the importance of accountability and respect for law enforcement, stating that these principles must begin at the top. He pointed out that one of the major obstacles to safer roads is the pressure exerted by influential individuals on police officers to release traffic offenders. We cannot expect discipline in our streets if we keep undermining the people enforcing the law, he cautioned. The acting president revealed that he often receives calls from friends and family asking him to intervene when they are stopped by police for traffic violations. However, he consistently refuses to engage in such matters. I get the calls, but I tell them no. The police have their job to do, he remarked, sharing an incident where he had to remind a younger relative that officers have the authority to act as needed. Phillips recalled encouraging the officer directly when his relative attempted to hand over the phone, saying, "I told him, don't be intimidated. Handle the matter as you think best." He reiterated his commitment to consistently convey this message, reinforcing that those who break the law must face the consequences. He challenged his colleagues in high office and other community leaders to adopt a similar stance, asserting that when those in power refuse to interfere, it sends a strong message that strengthens road discipline. If you break the law, face the consequence, he concluded. PNCR mourns the passing of long-serving member Johnny Fraser. The People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, expresses its sorrow at the passing of Ms. Johnny Fraser, a dedicated and long-serving member of the PNCR Central Mahayakoni Group, East Coast Demerara. On Thursday, November 6, 2025, PNCR General Secretary Mr. Sherwin Benjamin and Vice Chairman Mr. Vinceroy Jordan, MP, visited the family and relatives of the late Ms. Fraser in Zeskandaran, Mahayakoni. They were accompanied by Ms. Selma Seeley, chairperson of the party group for Central Mahayakoni and regional councillor, as well as NDC councillor Ms. Paul Cameron. The party extends its heartfelt condolences to Ms. Fraser's family and acknowledges her commitment and contributions to the PNCR and the community. CPCE celebrates graduation of 1,345 new teachers. On Friday, the Cyril Potter College of Education, CPCE, celebrated one of the largest graduating cohorts in the country's history, with 1,345 new teachers completing their training in various fields. The graduation ceremony, held at the Providence National Stadium, was themed Empowering Educators, Inspiring Futures, a Legacy of Excellence. Minister of Education Sonia Parag delivered the keynote address, commending the graduates for their resilience during the challenges posed by the pandemic and reaffirming the government's commitment to ensuring that every classroom is staffed by a trained teacher. After this graduation, the percentage of trained teachers in the hinterland will be close to 92%, she announced, receiving loud applause from the audience. Parag emphasized the critical role of education in national development, stating, "The country cannot transform without our human capital transforming with it. Being a teacher means being a lifelong learner, constantly seeking new ways to inspire and engage your students." This year's graduating class includes 388 teachers in early childhood education, 384 in primary education, 303 in secondary education, including TVET, GTE, and TTE, and 35 in other specializations. I implore you, as you step out of this college, to take with you every ounce of training and experience and impart it in a manner that will not just be momentous but impactful in the classroom, Parag urged the new educators. CPCE also reported an impressive 94.25% matriculation rate, reflecting the institution's strengthened training systems. Since 2020, over 6,000 teachers have graduated from CPCE, with another 1,456 students currently enrolled across 20 satellite centers nationwide. Dr. Kofi Dalrymple, advisor to the Ministry of Education on Tertiary Reform, delivered a charge to the graduates, encouraging them to recognize the power they hold as educators. In every classroom, under every tree, in every virtual lesson, you shape destinies. Education is not merely instruction. It is transformation, the daily renewing of our minds, he stated. He urged the new teachers to teach with compassion and courage, saying, "Teach not what is written, but what is right. Go forth as teachers, as nation builders, as guardians of Guyana's promise." CPCE's leadership reiterated its commitment to providing the nation's schools with 100% trained teachers, underscoring the importance of quality education in shaping the future of Guyana. Statement from We Invest in Nationhood. In a recent statement, the We Invest in Nationhood party wrote, "Is this the same government of Guyana that stood before the world condemning the creeping dictatorship in Haiti? Is this the same administration that called on Canada, Kenya, CARICOM, and every democratic partner to intervene, restore order, and defend the rule of law? This is the very government that has spent hundreds of thousands of US dollars on an eminent persons group to protect democracy abroad, yet today practices open persecution at home. The international community must now confront a sobering reality. The PPP government is weaponizing state institutions, law enforcement, and public office against the leader of the opposition, his family, and his political movement. This issue transcends mere insurance, traffic stops, or speeding tickets. It represents a steady intrusion of power and a deliberate encroachment on freedom and fairness. This is a politically orchestrated campaign of harassment designed to intimidate and silence dissent. The Vice President's public threat directed at Police Commissioner Hicken, warning that he will face criminal charges should any vehicle owned by the leader of the opposition's family be involved in an accident, is egregiously reckless and a blatant abuse of power. It signals to the entire state apparatus that persecution is now policy. How can a democratic nation justify targeting vehicles owned by one family, instructing the police to pull them over, and simultaneously prohibiting agencies from providing insurance coverage, only to use the lack of insurance as justification for impoundment? This is targeted harassment under the guise of enforcement. Where are the voices of those who once lectured the region on democracy? Where is the voice of CARICOM's Secretary General, who advocated for Haiti's rights but remains silent on the refusal to install the leader of the opposition in Guyana or the escalating political victimization in our territory? Is this silence accidental or convenient? We have seen the international community condemn the lawlessness of Haiti, including the notorious influence of the gang leader Barbecue. Yet here in Guyana, there is a figure wielding power with similar disregard for democratic norms, using the trappings of office to silence and coerce rather than serve. Guyana is being placed in the same category as nations where opposition leaders are hunted instead of debated, where police power replaces constitutional power, where the state becomes the weapon of the ruling party. We have witnessed this before. In Pakistan, under the persecution of Imran Khan, in nations where the judiciary bends under political pressure, in countries where democracy exists in name but not in practice. We call upon President Lula of Brazil, a respected defender of human rights and democracy, to pay attention to what is unfolding in Guyana. We urge Brazil, as a leading voice in South America, to help ensure the rule of law does not collapse under political ambition. We appeal to international partners, human rights organizations, and every nation committed to democratic values. Guyana needs intervention, monitoring, and accountability. CARICOM, we ask again, where's your voice? The Secretary General has remained silent about the refusal to install the opposition leader and the misuse of state resources to persecute political opponents. The police force can hunt the leader of the opposition's vehicles, but has no time to address reports of sexual harassment of female ranks by senior officers. The Vice President threatens police over accidents involving opposition vehicles, but is silent when a school child is killed on a pedestrian crossing by a police officer. Is this governance or vengeance? We call upon every international partner we met with before the elections, every democratic mission, every observer, and every organization committed to good governance and the rule of law. Intervene, observe, and hold this government accountable. Protect democracy in Guyana. To the international community, do not wait for Guyana to become another cautionary tale. You intervened in Haiti. Will you ignore the same behavior here? To the government, true confidence in democratic principles is demonstrated not by evasion but by openness to scrutiny. The We Invest in Nationhood movement, in concert with the indomitable people of Guyana, remains resolute and undaunted. We shall persist in our appeals to every legitimate international institution, for Guyana is entitled to a government that neither trembles before the law nor wields it as an instrument of oppression.